everybody, my name's Helen, and today I have a book haul for you. Now I know this is a little bit earlier than I usually do my book hauls, but I went to this new / secondhand store that I found in town, and I spent way more money than I was intending to spend, and now instead of having a small book haul, I have a lot of books, which wasn't supposed to happen. So I'm going to do this now so that I feel like I can't buy any more books this month. The first book that I got this month is The Unfinished Tales by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is actually another part of the Lord of the Rings series, so I thought I had it all, but apparently I didn't. And this is like a continuation of the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings. It has little like short stories and little tidbits about all of it, as well as a very large appendices at the back, which is beautiful. And the next book that I got is Outlander by Diana. I'm gonna go with Gabaldon because I like the way it sounds. And I've basically just heard a lot about this on the booktube community lately, and it sounds really cool. It's about Claire, who was a former combat nurse in the war, and she lives in the year 1945. And she goes on a second honeymoon with her husband, and she touches this boulder, and it sends her back in time to 1743. So it sounds super cool. I love time travel in books, so I'm really excited to read this, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. But the first book that I got from the secondhand store is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I'm so excited to read this. I listened to the audiobook of Coraline a couple months ago, and I loved it. And this is another one of his, children's books, even though it sounds kind of creepy. It is about a kid named Bod who lives in a cemetery, and he has been raised by ghosts. He has to try and stay away from a man named Jack, who killed Bod's family. The next book that I got is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Ellen Bradley. And this is about a 11-year-old girl named Flavia who has a passion for poison. An 11-year-old with a passion for poison, and it's a girl. This is so cool. The next book that I got is Rebel Angels by Libba Bray. This is the sequel to A Great and Terrible Beauty, which I read in January and I loved, and when I saw it there in the right edition of paperback so it will match mine, I was really happy. That didn't happen. I was really happy, and I knew I needed to get it, so I will hopefully be diving into this one sometime in the near future. So the next book that I have is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, and I got this on Amazon, and this is like the anniversary edition, so it's kind of a cool cover. And there's a bit of a reason that I got this, which is that if you haven't seen my video of me ranting about The Hobbit, then you probably don't know that I am in love with Lee Pace, who plays Thranduil. And I was watching some of the older movies that he's done. He did this movie called Infamous with Daniel Craig and Sandra Bullock, where he plays this criminal, and it's based on when the author Truman Capote was writing this book. And it was a really interesting story, and it just really made me want to read the book, so when I saw it...
Helen!
Yeah?
You're awake?
Yeah?
Okay, awesome!
Time to go?
Well, not really. You have like half an hour left.
Okay.
Basically, this is a story about a murder in a small town in Kansas, and
It's about a murder in a small town in Kansas, and it's following from when Truman went to go get information about it up until the two killers were sentenced to death row. So it sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited to read it. The next book that I have is Leviathan by Scott Westerfeld, and I have been wanting to read this for so long, and I got this from that secondhand store. And it's kind of like a steampunk retelling of the First World War. It sounds really cool, and I loved Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, so I'm really excited to dive into this. Illustrations. So the next book that I have is The Replacements by Brenna Jovanoff. I've heard a lot of things about this book, Like, I've seen a lot of booktubers haul it, but I haven't really seen a lot of them read it. But the cover is just really cool and creepy, and it sounds really cool and creepy. I'll just read the first, paragraph off of the back here for you. Mackie is not one of us. Though he lives in the small town of Gentry, he comes from a world of tunnels and black murky water, a world of living dead girls ruled by a little tattooed princess. He is a replacement, left in the crib of a human baby 16 years ago. Now he's slowly dying in the human world. So it sounds like it's kind of a story about changelings, which is kind of cool, and it's a story that's always interested me. The next book that I got from that store is in basically perfect condition, and it is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, and I've seen this so many times at my local, new bookstore, and I never bought it because it just, the title is so cheesy. Magi Bookshelf, I think that's their channel. I'll leave a link down below, and one of the two sisters is a huge contemporary fan, and she loves this series to no end, so it made me really want to read it. And the next book that I got from that store is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, and I've basically just heard so many good things about this book, both from Katrina from Little Book Owl, and I think it was Cassidy from Cassidy Blanchet, who also read this fairly recently and really liked it. And it just really made me want to read it, and this cover is beautiful. And the next book that I got is If I Stay by Gail Forman, and this is the only book that was really, really damaged, but it was $1.50. I care. And basically I got this because I've heard so many good things about Gail Forman, and I figured this would be a good place to start with her books. The last, new book that I got from my usual bookstore is Splintered by A.G. Howard, and basically this cover, the purple font, and just this, way too much beauty in one book, and it's an Alice in Wonderland sort of retelling, and I love Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my favorite classics, and I've loved every adaptation I've ever seen of it. So, of course, I had to read Splintered. And the very last book that I got this month is Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. And this is the story of a plane filled with beauty queens that crashes on a deserted island, and they have to survive there. And I got this because I am part of the Ancillary Book Club here on YouTube, and this is our next read, and it was really cheap for the hardcover, so I got it. And I've heard really mixed things about this book, so I'm kind of nervous going into it, but I think that reading it in a book club setting will allow me to appreciate it more. That's it. Those are all the books that I got in the month of March. What did you get this month? I'd love to know. Leave them in the comments down below. And if you would like me to do a review of any of the books that you saw in this video today, also let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye!